Sweet, wasn't it, in the end? No, but it was exceptional, wasn't it? It's what we come to expect from Luke Littler, but yeah, you do have to kind of feel for Stephen Bunting. He did throw a lot at it. He had his chances early on in the match, but you know, you're faced with back-to-back 180s in the opening 2 throws. You just think, right, when your luck's not in, it's really not in, and it wasn't there for Bunting tonight. No, and
it's a hard watch because he's a lovely fella, is Bunty, isn't he? And I've said it before, I got criticised for it, really. I wonder if he's a little bit too nice. He needs just a little bit of venom, you feel sometimes. And it's a hard watch because he's not playing with that freedom we know he can, but that's what happens when you get bogged down in the Premier League. We've seen it by players who are multiple world champions in the past, and it's a tough watch. But up next, Gerwyn Price against Rob Cross. These pair have locked horns some 28 times, so they know each other's games inside out.
We are coming to you live on Sky Sports from the great city of Newcastle. This is the MGM Premier League. It's all brought to you by the Professional Darts Corporation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet the players. The winner of 3 Grand Slam titles, a 2-time World Cup champion, the winner of the World Grand Prix. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a Premier League finalist and the former champion of the world, the Iceman, Gerwyn Price.
And Gezi, he's only a 2-time winner, isn't he, in this campaign, winning nights 3 and 6, so I don't think he'll win this week. He might win next week. Next week's night 9, and I think he's going to do it.
Yeah, interesting to hear not the normal walk-on we've got going on for Gerwyn Price. I like it, but it's not Ice Ice Baby.
No, I wasn't really even listening. I was looking at your notes, but yeah, I like the record, but I'm not sure it's darts walk-on music, is it? I mean, if that's... But he doesn't seem upset, so it tells me that that's his choice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of 2 European Championships, a 5-time World Series title winner. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a Premier League finalist, a winner of the World Matchplay, and a former champion of the world, Bunting Rob.
Cross to make the final in this campaign so far, which I find a little surprising because his form over the last couple of years has been very good, hasn't he? He's been involved in some absolute epics, picked up titles here and there. He's another one that's going to have to find I mean, we're halfway through tonight, aren't we, Laura? So he's going to have to find something from somewhere and at least start making finals, if not winning a night.
Yeah, he's been in the winning circle, as you mentioned, a couple of times already this year. Dutch Darts Masters, picked up the opening title on the Pro Tour as well. So he's getting back to those winning ways. But funny, he's one of those players, and I don't know what you think, that after picking up the world title back in 2018, you thought there was going to be more from him. He's almost one of those players that's been very, very good, but just hasn't quite achieved.
Well, he did absolutely nothing for about 17 months, and then rocks up at the match play, and it was that match play win went under the radar really. But if you actually reflect on it and look at how he won it, it was class from start to finish. And then he sort of went missing again, and then won the Europeans. And he sort of, I mean, is that just the nature of our sport right now? It's hard to win anything. Never mind winning the big ones and winning them multiple times. But he certainly has the game, and for me, the mindset.
Yep.
Well, I mean, these two could trade places tonight, couldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It's another interesting one as well, obviously, in terms of their meetings in the Premier League. Obviously, you only have to look back to last week. They met in the quarterfinals the same time. Obviously, it was Gerwyn Price's stomping ground as well there in Cardiff. And Rob Cross was the dominant player throughout, and then there was this comeback, wasn't there, from Gerwyn Price. It looked like it was going to go all Price's way until Rob Cross decided to win on a 170.
I mean, what a way! I mean, he was absolutely, wasn't even in the leg, was he? He was dead and buried, and I was like, oh well, that's the way it's going to go. And even in the build-up, into the last 2 legs of the match, I don't think there was a time where he hit 2 trebles in one visit. And then he pops the 170 out to pinch it, like you say, on Gezzy's stomping ground. Well, that'll be fresh in his mind, and he'll want to put that right. But it is 4 playing position 5. 4 for Gerwyn Price on 12 points, 7 points for Rob Cross, and he starts with the treble 20. Doesn't follow it. I say there'll be good omens from Littler's game, who started with the max and never looked back.
Well, that was certainly the way for Luke Littler. That first match of the Premier League that actually went to nil as well, breaking the heart of all those Bunting fans.
Yeah, I can't make a case for him right now, and it'd be different if away from the Premier League he was doing bits, but he's not. He's very much in the doldrums. A bit like Dobey, it has to be said. I mean, Dobey's only, was he on 3 points or something like that? He's hardly pulling up trees this year, and you know, he was another one that almost pleaded with the PDC to get an opportunity. Be careful what you wish for, boys.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of how it works, isn't it? You know, this is a relentless campaign where you also have to find, you know, time for Pro Tour, Euro Tour,
practice,
UK Open thrown in between it all. So.
Yeah, and you've got, listen, if there's an element of your game that needs work, how do you squeeze it in? Because you start doing what Bunt is doing here, losing all the time, and then go on the Pro Tour, take a couple of early knocks there. I mean, listen, you wouldn't be human if it didn't affect you. But Cross here in absolute control of leg 1. 281 Price minus 83, so 198. Cross waiting on double 18.
It's a dominant start that he got against Price last week as well. Yeah, and that is Cross 1-0, 36 pinned in 1 dart. Price all the way back on 198, not even a look in. And not the best start here again for Gerwyn Price. Has to settle for just 40 points off the 501.
Yeah, it's almost offering the leg up to Cross even in the earliest stages. And well, we're looking at the images here on a monitor, and he's just looking to his, no doubt, family and friends, and there was almost a look of resignation, and we're only in leg 2 of the contest. Well, I suppose you know, you're a player yourself, Laura. Some nights you just know, or days you just get that feeling, I'm just not feeling it today. Yeah,
absolutely. It's difficult. I mean, we've got such a high expectation based on what we've seen from these top players, and understandably so, but yeah, they are humans at the end of the day, and sometimes if you're not quite on it, you're not on it. If you're superstitious like me and it doesn't go well, I'd just blame the walk-on song. It's the change that did it all. It's not me.
Who played that damn music? Welcome along to all of our viewers on YouTube. If you've got a question for myself or Laura, keep it sensible and civil, and we'll endeavour to try and answer any of your queries. At the moment, it's all Cross. 265 Price minus these. Starting correctly on the 19s. 5 of them leave a 170. Cross waiting on 172, and he's going to get 6 at it because that was a poor turn from Price. He's still on 207. Cross at the Oki, 1-0 up, 172. Second game of the night for just joining us. A bit of a masterclass, as Mark Wilson said, from Littler in the opening game against Bunty, winning 6-0 with a nearest, damn it, 110 average.
Yeah, and the winner of this will get to face said Luke Littler in the semi-finals. Also, Price has got a very good head-to-head record against Luke Littler at the moment, but this match going all the way across, 72 required. The first one goes into a 1, and there's a bit of a sarcastic nod there from Rob Cross, who cannot adjust, finds a 6, and now a real chance for Price for the 108.
That was an absolute mess. He's ended up going to the Oki needing 72, and he's left 49, but it's 108 for Price, and he wants tops. Could have been, even in this early stages, just for his mindset, a bit of a game changer. So Cross will come back, 17 for double 60.
Finds a 17. Just that little pause that we used to see from Rob Cross. Double 16 the target, just outside, but it's a bit awkward. Cross moving across the hockey. And it was a good move because that is 2-0 to Rob Cross. A real shake of the head there in the background from Gerwyn Price.
Yeah, it was an opportunity you probably didn't think he was going to get, but penny for his thoughts as he was watching Cross hit the double 16 from a left field angle, wasn't it? He had to move all the way over because Dart 2 was very much a blocker. So 1-3-9 start from Cross, leads 2-0. Winner, of course, to play Luke Little.
It does feel very much like it could be a repeat in terms of fixtures from last week because of the way that the draw has gone in week 8.
Yeah, because this week was 1 against 8, wasn't it? 2, 7, 3, 6, so on and so forth, based on the position that you found yourself in the table after week 7. Following this, Humphries will face the local man, Chris Dobey, and MBG against Aspinall. That's one I'm particularly looking forward to.
Rob Cross pins 2 trebles, finds the 3rd for the first maximum, but Price nowhere to be seen. Cross on 42, Price on 403.
It's in a different postcode. I think he's in Sunderland and he's meant to be in Newcastle. Well, you were right. You're right. They said, Laura, we've not had a 6-0. I mean, this potentially could be another. With very little resistance from Price as Cross wants double 16, misses it, but Price back on 3-6-3.
Yeah, really uncharacteristic performance by Gerwyn Price so far. That's the first treble 20 he's pinned in this leg, and offers up plenty more chances for Rob Cross to see off the leg and take a 3-0 lead. 32 the target for Cross. 32 is found and it is 3-0.
I played in it's new to me, a singles league in Ilkeston on a Wednesday, and I somehow managed to get talked into it. And I averaged 80 last night. I could actually be beating Gerwyn Price right now. No, I wasn't happy with an 80. As you can imagine, Laura, the head was going to fall off, it was shaking so much.
I would have been happy. I would have been happy just with the win, to be honest. Well, better visits this time from Gerwyn Price, just trying to make some inroads here. Price on 2-2-2, Cross back on 405, but yeah, as you say, the average for Gerwyn Price at the moment, around the mid-70s, way off what we normally see from him.
Yeah, that's just not him, is it? He's just having one of those, and we cottoned onto it fairly early, didn't we? There was after the leg 1, there was just a despondent look at friends and family, and just a shake of the head of not feeling it.
Now Cross trying to get back into this leg, has to settle for 99, so at least 6 here for the 1-2-4 for Price. Single 20. Ops the 16s route, just trying to tease something up. Knows he's got a little bit of time. Might be wrong, but it's just been that one dart so far for Gerwyn Price in the entire match at tops early on for the 108. Yep.
Again, very much like Bunty, just getting scraps, both on 72. Cross leads 3-0. Pricey. Tops. Doesn't get it. So Cross will be back for the double break and a 4-0 lead.
And this has been an element of Rob Cross's game that I think has been quite good, especially over the last few weeks. A single 20. Another single 20, double 16. Once again, the target has been kind to him so far this match, and is kind again. It's a 72 finish and a 4-0 lead.
Another nod almost of appreciation and resignation from Gerwyn Price. Happy bunny right now. Well, Cross, no doubt, like us, would have been thinking this is going to be a tough battle.
Yeah, especially when you look at last week, it was 6-5 in the end, but first maximum of the match for Gerwyn Price. And the one thing we do know from Gerwyn Price, he will not give up, he will keep fighting, but just hasn't quite been at the races so far tonight.
We do have a question. Might be one for you. Is there a method of keeping a soft wrist when throwing? you don't really want a soft wrist because then you get a bit of a whip in your action. The idea is to just the elbow, from the elbow to move really, and just to open the hand.
And Rob Cross firing in a maximum of his own. He's 155, Price on 240. Desperately trying to find a treble. Can't, so Cross 6 darts afforded for the 155.
One away from the double bagel tonight. Single 20 from Cross, runs for cover, doesn't find the treble 19, has to be a bit careful. Leaves himself 96 with Price at the oche on 180. Treble 20's found, and again, so he's going to leave tops, all barring a disaster. Seen that bust a few times down the local league.
Yeah, I've seen that bust a few times up on the big stage as well. It's the one thing I think people associate with, say, Dirk van Dijvenbode. It's the one thing he never wants to be associated with. And Cross, 96 left, finds treble 20, double 18 just inside. So double 9 now the target, and goes inside again.
What an opportunity. The treble's gone in. I think the worst for Pricey, but he's found a single 20, a single 10, double 5. He smiles to laugh about, Gezi. Found yourself in a world of trouble.
And he looks at his friends and family again and just wonders what's going on. Rob Cross, 9 required, finds 1. So double 4, just outside. On the wire. Can he use it as a guide? He can't. He's just inside. Had to take a look. They were both very close, Mace.
Wow, what a bizarre leg where he's been finishing quite beautifully throughout this match. But it is Gerwyn Price who avoids the bagel. Maybe it's his turn to sort of come back and nick it at the end.
Yeah, double 1 was found in the end by Price, but both players walking away from that leg, shaking their heads, wondering, oh, what's gone wrong? But it is Price with a leg on the board, and now he has the darts to try and bring it back to within 2.
Of course, there's added pressure on these matches, of course, because we are at the midway point. So this is where, if you are Price or Cross, you've got to start making a move. You've got to start at least making finals and getting points on the board.
Yeah, Rob Cross has made the semi-final every week bar 2. It's just doing that trickling of points and making sure he's in and around the mix, whereas it's been very much an up and down kind of campaign from Gerwyn Price.
Listen, you don't want to be going into the last couple of weeks just desperate to make a final to almost secure your place, because we've seen that gone terribly wrong in the past for certain players.
Well, Nathan Aspinall always springs to mind. He's done that a couple of times and ended up 5th.
You read my mind.
And he's coming up very soon. A great last dart there from Rob Cross. Pins treble 20, but it's 90 required for Price. Single 20, single 20. Ball is the target. Quite a way off.
It wasn't northeast where they are, it was more northwest. So 130 from Cross to lead 5-1. Price rating on 36 is a good idea for him to lay up. That's how far away from the ball it was. So double 18 for 4-2.
Well, the comeback's on. Double 18 found by Price, and it's 4 legs to 2. Still, Cross has the advantage, but is this the comeback from Gerwyn Price?
Himself a little bit too much to do. I think Cross now with throw will be really switched on. He knows the importance of just getting to the hill, getting within 1.
I think the change for me with Rob Cross in this Premier League campaign was when he led Luke Littler 5-1. Let that slip away from him, lost 6 legs to 5, and then since then came back and has just looked like a more focused, more concentrated player. He doesn't want to do the same thing here. He's at a 4-0 lead over Price, and it's just starting to slip away from him.
60 from Price. Down to 341. Rob Cross 302. Cross leads 4-2. In game number 2, we did fear the worst for Price here. We were contemplating a double bagel. That's a lovely turn from Cross. 132 to lead 170.
Slight pause, a little bit of an equipment change there for Gerwyn Price, but he's back at the oche.
Maybe a few running repairs, maybe at a damaged stem or a flight.
82.
No, another chance for a 170. Doesn't go for the 20, a long way below, and a small 3, followed by an 18. So a bag of nails. He's done that a couple of times when he's sort of his approach play to trying to set up a double.
Yeah, he has indeed. And Price now tapping on the shoulder if he gets to come back. He's on 120. Cross on 129, slightly more awkward, but finds the 57. And 72. Goes double 18, needs another double 18 for a 129 and a 5-2 lead. Oh, and pins it in the same spot. 5-2, Rob Cross.
That was class, wasn't it? I mean, he did. I mean, there was a shout there. Listen, the double makes mathematical sense to me, but you know, on occasions you may have thought, well, I don't fancy him to take 120 out, but didn't even cross his mind. Treble 19, double 18, double 18. Thank you very much. Price starts with a 140. Cross backs him up with one of his own. Cross leads 5-2. A ton from Price, that will be enough.
No, I agree. It might not. Cross just seems to have that bit between his teeth. He had success last week, and he finds treble 20. Backing up the 140 with a 177.
I wanted him to do it on a 170 again, but that's not going to happen. Well, not unless he goes 14 and 2 out of the board.
As tactics go, it's not one that I'd suggest. But he has got time. Price on 206. Cross approaches the oche. 184 required.
This time, the approach play is very tidy. Well, he's left 50 after 9. Possible 10 darter.
Do you think he's going to go that route? I'm not quite so sure.
Nah. Listen, the double finish is one thing, but
yeah, 18 is found. Double 16 once again the target for Rob Cross. Just outside, and again it's awkward. Trying to find a route through, and he can't.
well, his darts lay slightly across themselves, so when he literally sticks it right on the wire, it's not a guide or a marker for him. And Price has strayed into the treble 5, recovers with the treble 20, single 17s, left 58, but 3 in hand for a 6-2 win for for Rob Cross. I guess he Price fans will be going, ooh. And he gets the job done. Finds double 16 with dart 1, and well, really it was a bit of a mismatch. That just wasn't Gezi Price up there. It was very little fight. I'm not sure if he maybe a little, you know, be sick or not well or whatever, because normally there's no growls, there was no energy up there from him, but a good performance in the hole from Rob Cross. Average just north of 100. It didn't look that good, did it, Nora?
No, absolutely, and I agree. There just wasn't that fire in the belly that you normally see from Gerwyn Price from the out, and Rob Cross just took advantage from the start, but it was a consistent performance. Almost finished off, as you say, with an 11 dart. I had to wait to cross the line, but I think he'll be happy with a 6-2 win, but then has to go on to face Luke Littler. I mean, that's some kind of prospect. Yeah,
listen, there shouldn't be any easy games in this. It's the elite playing the elite, but yeah, a good performance in the end from Rob Cross. Was it a good enough performance to beat Luke Littler in the first semi-final, which will be coming up a little later on? I'm not so sure.
Well, when it comes to the Darts Premier League, the last thing you want is an online mishap throwing you off your game. Threat Protection Pro helps you dodge bogus sites, and with the Dart Web Monitor, you'll get a heads up if your personal information starts circulating in the online equivalent of the Madhouse. Go to nordvpn.com/dartsvpn and get 2 years plus 4 months free and a birthday deal. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee.